Hey everybody, Jane here, and we are going to talk about three romances, all of which involve different kinds of gaming. We have role playing, which involves an online video game. We have Dungeons and Drama, which involves D&D. And then we have Conventionally Yours, which involves a collectible card game.
Pictures and patterns put into words that stream across the page, capturing life as soul spoken.
All right, so let me tell you a little bit about each book. So let's start with Conventionally Yours. We have Alden and Conrad. Alden and Conrad are kind of enemies. This is the only enemies to lovers I think I've ever read that I really, really enjoyed. But they are part of a group called Gamer Grandpa, the guy who runs it is a professor at this college, and he has um, he records YouTube videos involving these games that they are playing. They do kind of like the play the games, and then they talk about the strategies and different things. And Alden and Conrad clearly don't like each other and have been struggling for a long time. I don't remember now exactly what they didn't like about each other. I think there was a feeling of Alden seems a little bit stuck up, and he and one of them, I can't remember which it is now, tends to be like a little bit say things during a game that's kind of like, I'm gonna kick your butt, blah blah, and the other doesn't like it. But anyway, so Gamer Grandpa, shortly after the book opens, gets these tickets to a tournament for this card game. It's called Odyssey. And I don't know if that's a real card game or not. I didn't look into that, but it's a collectible card game, kind of similar to Magic. And anyway, so they're like, okay, Gamer Grandpa gets these tickets for all of the Gamer Grandpa people to go and compete in this tournament. And if they win the tournament, they have a chance at going professional and doing like these Odyssey gaming tournaments where they could make a lot of money. So both Alden and Conrad have reasons that would be a big life-changing thing for them. So Alden's moms are on his case because he is just kind of not sure what he needs to do next, or he was supposed to be going to medical school. That's what he wanted to do, but he didn't get accepted for the medical program, and he's kind of trying to figure out like what his next step is. He lives at home, and his moms are just like, you have to figure something out. You can't live at home forever. And so for him, like if he wins the tournament, going off and doing that would be a huge step to getting him away from his moms and into a different life. Conrad, on the other hand, is having a lot of struggles financially. He has had to drop out of college because of financial things. He is having trouble affording his medications despite working multiple jobs. And he just got laid off of one of the jobs that he works at. Also, the place he has been renting, the owner is going to be selling, and he just isn't sure he can afford another place. So he makes the decision that he is going to, quit all his jobs, go and do this tournament as like that last Hail Mary because he doesn't think he has any other options. He has asthma, by the way. So when I say medications, it's like asthma medications. And as somebody who has asthma, I have insurance and he doesn't for reasons. Asthma medications are so stupidly expensive, even with insurance. I can't imagine where he's at. My doctor wanted me to have one inhaler that was $500 an inhaler. And I had to be like, Doc, I can't afford that kind of money for an inhaler. Like, I ain't rich like that. I might just not be able to breathe. That might be what we have to settle with. So anyway, they start on this journey, and as as they go, the other people in the group end up having to drop out for different reasons. So Gamer Grandpa, he has an injury early on, and has to stay behind. Peyton goes and flies out because they don't like to drive. They didn't want to drive. And then Jasper goes, and Jasper, his sister is having a medical emergency, so he has to go home shortly after the trip again. So it's just Conrad and Alden making this road trip to Vegas. And as they travel, they realize they're stopping at different game stores along the way, playing with the people in the game stores and trying to promote Gamer Grandpa, but also they are realizing that they have a lot of assumptions about the other that is not true. So that is Enemies to Lovers, and involving a card game. We have Dungeons and Drama. So this one is a teen. Now, like Conventionally Yours, the characters are in college. Dungeons and Drama, the characters are in high school. So we have Riley, who has to she's in trouble with her parents, and so she has to help her dad at his gaming store. Nathan is one of the people that works there, and they end up in a fake dating situation because he has a crush on a girl that comes and plays D&D with him there, and also her ex-boyfriend shows up and she kind of told him that she was dating somebody, and so they decide to fake date so that they can each so that she can not look like a loser to her ex-boyfriend, and so that he can, convince the girl that he's into that he's worth dating. And subsequently, in their fake dating, they decide that they like each other. And they end up both being in a Dungeons and Dragons group at her dad's store. And the final book we have is Role Playing. This is the one I've read the most recently. This involves Maggie and Aiden, and they start playing this online game together. And it's kind of, other people have described it as World of Warcrafty. I've never played World of Warcraft, so I don't know. I don't remember what the game in here is called. But they both assume that the other is not close to their age. She assumes that he is like in his 20s, and he assumes that she is much older than him. And it turns out she's 48 and he's 50. So at some point, after they've become friends online, they meet in real life because he had an injury and she came over to help him, and they realize, oh wait, you're not who I expected you to be. And they start hanging out and becoming friends, and eventually they have like a very, very, very slow burn. Very slow burn. For good reasons, but oh my gosh. Very slow burn to get to their relationship. All right, so I gave Conventionally Yours a 5-star, I gave Dungeons and Drama a 5-star, and I gave Role Playing a 4-star. So of these three, it was my least favorite, though I still really enjoyed it. I think as far as incorporating the gaming elements into it, Conventionally Yours did the best job of really making the game central to the plot. The Dungeons and Drama, it's kind of important. It's, it is a gaming store, and they do play D&D, and that's one of the ways that she and Nathan fall in love, but it's not as huge a part of the plot as Conventionally Yours. So that was like the most gaming elements. This one had some. It's mostly, though, a means to an end, I felt like, of getting them together and interacting. We have a couple games and stuff that we see and them doing like group chats, but I didn't necessarily feel that this had a ton of the video game being central to the plot. All right, so worth mentioning, obviously, Conventionally Yours is a male-male romance. It's a little spoilery, but I'm going to say this anyway. This one features also an LGBT character. So we have Aiden, who is demisexual. So, and that is a huge part of the plot, hugely important. We don't find it out until a little bit later in the book. So we have two of these books are LGBTQIA, and then this one over here is not. So if that is going to affect your reading, please just know that in advance. As far as spice level goes, there is no spice in this one. There's no spice in Dungeons and Drama at all. There is, I would say, 3 scenes in Conventionally Yours, but it's very nondescript. So if you don't know what's happening and you don't know what the mechanics are, you probably won't know what's happening. So it's very, very vague. Like, if you know, but it's very vague for the spice. So then with role-playing, there are 2 scenes, and I would say of the, well, there's nothing in that one, so, but of these 2, this one is a little more explicit, but it's not extremely explicit either. So none of these are high spice books. As far as characters go, I would say that role-playing had probably the most interesting characters in a lot of ways to me because they are older characters. They're the ones we don't see very much. They're older characters, and Maggie is a spitfire. She is a ton of fun. I really liked the characters, though, also in Conventionally Yours. I thought those characters were so good. We have Alden, who is neurodiverse. He doesn't have a diagnosis, but we find out that a lot of the reasons that him and Conrad have always had problems getting along is that Alden doesn't have the greatest social skills. And so I loved him and Conrad figuring each other out, and he made such an interesting character as he kind of tried to be, tried to figure out how to do things the right way socially, and also if he didn't know, to ask. And their communication was beautiful. I would say in both Conventionally Yours and role-playing, there's some really good moments of communication with the partners and the ability to say, hey, I've never been in this situation before. I don't know how to handle it. And just being upfront about that. I really love that in my romance when characters are able to just say, I don't know, here's where we're at, instead of like miscommunicating or not communicating. Riley and Nathan, they're teenagers. Riley's kind of annoying sometimes. I liked it with all the nerd vibes because it's a very nerdy, wonderful story, and I just loved all the nerd vibes happening there. Riley's an interesting character. She's also into drama as well as, Nathan's real kind of typical nerd. He likes Monty Python. He likes Dungeons and Dragons. It's everything that is part of the cultures that I'm part of. So I love Nathan, but we don't get his POV. These 2 are dual POV. That one is not. That is just Riley. So I don't think we got to know Nathan super, super well. We just know him through Riley. Riley is a complex character who's doing the teenage thing. She's annoying sometimes because she's a teenager. But overall, I liked those characters. I didn't necessarily think they were as strong or stand out as in the other 2 books. So when it comes to side characters, I loved the side characters in Dungeons and Drama. You had so many fun side characters happening. You had, a lot of really good discussion of familial relationships. You have so much fun with the different characters playing the Dungeons and Dragons, and just Riley really bonding with these people who she didn't think she had anything in common with. She also has a best friend, and I can't remember her name, who's really important in the story. And just, I really enjoyed the side characters in that one probably the most. In Conventionally Yours, we do have a few side characters like Peyton and Gamer Grandpa who are interesting, but they're not in the book very much because it's primarily a road trip book. Also, we don't spend a lot of time with Alden's family. We do meet his moms briefly, but they don't play a huge role on stage. They do play a lot of a role as far as Alden like being impacted by them. And the same with, we don't really spend a lot of time with Conrad's family because of family issues that he's having. But we do see the impact of them on him. In role playing, I really didn't like the side characters. The side characters were kind of awful. And that's one of my biggest complaints I have about this book, is they are almost kind of stereotypical. These characters live in a small town, so especially with Aiden being Demi, you have a lot of prejudices that happen when it comes out that he is LGBTQIA. And the side characters that we do meet are generally awful, and it's kind of one of those, we are the only decent people in the small town, which I don't normally love, and I didn't really love in this case. Plot, I would say Conventionally Yours has the best plot. And by best plot, I mean the most consistent plot. These characters, the highest stakes for sure. So these characters are falling in love as they are going to fight in a tournament where only one of them has the potential to win. Like, there can't be two winners. One of them is going to potentially win if either of them wins. So, they're dealing with learning each other along the way, falling in love, and getting to this tournament, and once they're there, having to basically fight to the death to see who gets the role or of the place in the tournament player. And how you deal with that of, I understand why you want to win, and I want you to win, but I want to win too, and my reasons are just as valid, and this sucks. So I really loved the plot of that one. This one had a cool setup, but not really a lot of plot per se going through it. So role playing, we have the initial, like, they don't know that they're the same age, and then they meet, and he is trying to get a date for his kind of, I guess, the strand that goes across here. He's trying to get a date for his cousin's wedding. And so his mother is trying to hook him up with different people to go on a date with, and everybody's awful. And then Maggie, her son is in college and has been like, hey, I'm not socializing a lot. And so she's been like, I'll be more social if you'll be more social. And so there's kind of like that going on. But there isn't really a huge plot that like goes through the whole book other than dealing with family issues as they come up. And then Dungeons and Drama, we have the main plot of Riley being grounded and trying to kind of have a relationship with the dad that she's somewhat estranged from by working in his store. And we also have, she is trying to save the spring musical. Her school has decided they want to shut down the drama club because of funding, and Riley has taken it on herself to and a few of her friends and other drama students to try to save the musical for the spring. So that's kind of the plot, but that one, the plot isn't a huge focus. I mean, it happens, it's important, but it's doesn't feel as urgent and vital and important to the whole thing as Conventional Years. So I would say Conventional Years has the strongest plot. Of these three, and it's hard to pick, but I think, and I don't know which one I've said before, but I do think I'm going to say Conventional Yours I liked the most of these three. It's a pretty close toss up between these two. But I do think Conventionally Yours, especially like having had some time to sit and think about it, I think I like Conventionally Yours just a tad bit better than Dungeons and Drama, although I did really love Dungeons and Drama as well. Both Conventionally Yours and role playing has a lot of discussion of, you know, the prejudices and family drama that can happen when somebody is not straight and the family thinks they should be. So I do think that both of those books have that in common, that they have a lot of discussion about, in Conrad's situation in Conventionally Yours, he is part of the reason he's in such financial difficulty is his parents have disowned him because they found out he was gay. And similarly, we have a lot of backlash from Aiden's family because he is gay Demi, and has had a previous relationship with a man. And in their eyes, that makes him gay, although he's not gay, he's Demi. But, the fact that he has ever had a relationship with a man has caused his family to basically want nothing to do with him in a lot of ways, and is causing all kinds of strife and issues and problems with his relationships with his family. So those are some of the things comparing these books. If you are looking for a book about gaming, I would not say don't pick up any of these books. I had a good time with all of them. I think it just depends on what you're wanting from a book. Do you want really strong characters? Do you want something that's a lot of fun? Are you looking for enemies to lovers? Are you looking for fake dating? Are you looking for friends to lovers? Are you looking for something LGBTQIA or not? There's a lot of options, and all of these were really fun books that involved gaming. So, in the comments below, tell me if you've read any of these books and what you think or thought. Did you like them? Did you have a different opinion than I do? And also in the comments below, if you've read any good books that were romances that involve gaming, leave those in the comments below too, because I am really loving these gaming romances and I want to read more of them. This has been Jane, guys. I'll see you next time. Bye!